All right, sir. We are live. Stand by for audio. All right. Good day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So today, actually it's this evening because it is 5 p.m. our time on the East Coast of the U.S. We're tuning in with a fellow East Coaster. This gentleman hails from Connecticut while I'm recording down here in Pennsylvania. So I do love the New England area. It is beautiful. But let's get to the chase here. This gentleman is the founder of Rewind. And you want to remember that. Rewind is your keyword of the day. Remember all caps, shout it out to yourself, hashtag it. But it's the home of the world's first nutrition called Superbar. He's also the author of the Millionaire Workout. Passion to Profits was featured on the front page of the Wall Street Journal and called the world's #1 lifestyle entrepreneur by Entrepreneur. And I do love to talk about health, business, and lifestyle on this show. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from Connecticut, Ryan Lee.
Thank you, Scott. I could hear the round of applause already. And by the way, so just one little correction. I live in Connecticut. I've been here for about 20 years.
Oh.
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay, I apologize. I apologize.
I am.
You New Yorkers take that very seriously.
We take it very seriously.
Yes.
I'm from New York. I'm a New Yorker. I am a transplant in Connecticut, although I am enjoying the.
Well, I mean, nowadays, well, actually not even nowadays, for a long time, I mean, all the trains go there. I mean, it's
right.
If you're smart, you don't pay what it costs to live in New York City.
No.
I mean, that's happening in my area. We were just, actually, ladies and gentlemen, we were just joking around because I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I used to live in historic Bethlehem. And this gentleman has actually come to our wonderful greater Lehigh Valley area, of all places, an amusement park called Dorney Park and
Wildwater Kingdom.
And how long ago was that, by the way?
Oh, God. The last time I was there, it has to be 25 years, probably at least that. But I remember it was for every summer we used to go to Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom. And now here I am talking to the amazing Scott.
You thought you could get away and somehow podcasting pulls you back in. So
it does. By the way, has anyone told you you have like that radio voice?
I've been hearing that more.
You have. Even the way you do the intro, the pauses, I like it. And I am going to reciprocate with the same dramatic.
Oh, the same dramatic pause. Very nice.
I like it.
I've been adding more of it in. I mean, granted, as of this morning, as you and I are recording this, I aired episode 203. And the show, I launched it in September of 16. So we're coming up next month on 2 years. So
that's awesome. That's great. I mean, you're going. Like, you're not stopping. And that's a testament to you. And I think it's a testament to showing if people who want to be an entrepreneur, you have to keep going. It's the hardest. I'm sure we'll talk about it. It's the hardest thing in the world.
No, go with it, man. We don't format this show. You're already digging into something. Clearly, it means something to you. So let's touch on the importance of. I've been using this more lately. Putting in the reps a lot. I've been using that a lot. It just started happening over the past couple of months. I am a health and fitness nut, so that's why I knew you and I would vibe today. But most people don't understand the importance of putting in the reps outside of the gym in life. So,
yeah.
It's
everyone like the big mantra now, you know this, if you've been online for any length of time now, it's hustle, grind, keep doing it,
Oh, you mean Gary Vaynerchuk?
Oh, yeah. And I've known Gary for 7 years. We've actually spoken at 2 events together. Yeah. It was really interesting. We spoke at one about 2 years ago. It was in London in a boxing ring. So, and we both
not sure if I saw that video.
It was an interesting, it was fun though. But he's a great guy and I really like Gary. And I agree with him on a lot of stuff he teaches. What I don't necessarily agree with is keep working hard, and eventually you're going to succeed just by working hard. It's not true. Here's why. Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, I don't know how to put this bluntly, their ideas just are not, they suck, right? I don't care how hard you're working, how hard you're hustling and grinding. If you don't have a good idea, you don't have a good hook, you don't have a good lead, you don't have a real reason for existing in the marketplace, then no one's going to buy it or follow you or watch you or purchase your products or services. And then you're just going to get frustrated. And then it kind of makes you feel guilty. You're like, well, I'm working so hard. I have my full-time job. I'm working 5 extra hours at night. I'm not making any money. It must be me. I'm not working hard enough. And then you start feeling guilty. And it's like, oh my God forbid you watch like a show on Netflix. Now all of a sudden you're lazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. So look, I agree. You have to work. You got to work hard. You got to put in the reps. When I first started as an entrepreneur, and this is going to sound old, my first website was back in 1998. So
you got me beat. You got me beat.
Yeah, I was really early, and I had the world's first strength and conditioning membership site back then.
Okay.
And I was working full-time in a children's hospital. I was training clients in the morning. I'd work 9 to 5. I trained clients at night. Then I took graduate classes for a master's in exercise physiology. Then I'd go home. I wouldn't get home till 9:30 at night, and then work on my website. So I remember putting in those hours, but it was also the right idea, and timing plays a part. So I get the value of hard work, but you still have to have a good idea. And as an entrepreneur, you also have to get back up, because you have to be ready to take hits, because no matter what, even if you do have the good idea and you have the drive and the passion and the hustle, and you've got the Scott Mulvaney looks and the radio voice and everything's fallen into place, you're still going to get your butt kicked. You're still going to get knocked down, and you've got to get back up. You just do. And that's why if it's something you're excited about, even better. If you're not excited about whatever the market is, let's say there's a hot market about, what's that freaking video game the kids are playing? Fortnite, right?
Oh God, I've been hearing about that a lot more. FYI, you might have noticed the audio change, because I've watched over 200 podcast shows, and for some reason, every once in a while, Zoom decides to not enable my super mic, and you were listening to me over my webcam audio. So I should.
Well, now all of a sudden you're right here. Yeah. And speaking of super mic, let's talk about Fortnite. So Fortnite.
Yeah, what's up with that game? I haven't even looked at it yet. I don't
even understand. Some kind of free video game, and everyone like kills each other.
The kids are nuts about it.
I know. My kids aren't, thank God. But if you're not passionate about it, like me, I know nothing about the game. Just because it's an opportunity, it doesn't mean it's a good idea for me to start the business. Because when things get hard, when things get rough, and there's more competitors, and I'm facing hardships and challenges, if I'm not excited about it, if I don't wake up saying, oh my God, I can't wait to do this in Fortnite, then I'm just not going to succeed, and others are going to push past me. So it's kind of this, art, science, hustle, sweat, passion. It's all kind of mixed in like entrepreneurial stew.
I like that. Entrepreneurial stew, ladies and gentlemen.
I just made that up, and it works, right?
It's flowing.
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry, because what you just hit on was, as you put in more of the reps and you learn to get up, like the whole boxing ring type thing, right? You're getting knocked down, you're getting back up. You're getting knocked down, you're getting back up. Eventually, you're going to learn a few things from that process,
right?
As long as your brains aren't completely scrambled. Or if you get knocked out, once you become more conscious again, you might remember a few things. But that's the point, is that I think the most challenging, and here, ladies and gentlemen, if you're smart and you listen to other entrepreneurial podcasts from time to time, they don't always have to be health and fitness and lifestyle related. That's why I mix it up. But you can correct me on this, sir. Everybody's talking about the hustle.
Right.
But then there are shows now talking more about, well, put in the right reps, do the work, but do the right work. Here's the thing. I'd love to see where you're going to go with this. You got to have passion, and you got to follow your passion. How many people coach that? And then people are like, okay, well, how do I make money off my passion?
Right.
And then people kill themselves trying to figure out how to make money off their passion, and then destroy their lifestyle in the process.
Right. And it's never an exact, first of all, it's never an exact science. And if you only are about the like, look, I just mentioned Netflix before. My favorite thing in the world is at night, after like me and the kids, everyone takes the showers. We all got the pajamas on. We go downstairs on the couch. We pop some popcorn, and we'll watch like a show. We'll watch Stranger Things or a cooking show or something with me and my 4 kids. That's my favorite thing in the world. I'm really passionate about that. But no one in the world is going to pay me money to watch me sit on a couch.
Really?
No,
Huh.
I have not cracked that code. Now you can say, well, Ryan, maybe you can do reviews like a Rotten Tomatoes, and you could review this stuff in Family Friend. Okay, that's one thing. But now it's like a job, and now it's not as fun, and now it takes the fun out of it. So you should enjoy the topic. You should like it. But it's really, it has to be something you like. And I don't know if it's passion is the word or excite. it does have to make you want to wake up in the morning and say, I can't wait to do this. And it should be aligned with your skills as well.
Sure.
So if you're really passionate about something, but you suck at it, if you're really passionate about woodworking, but every, sculpture looks like Woody Woodpecker, what the hell that means? I don't even know what I'm blabbering about, but
actually, I haven't heard about Woody Woodpecker.
You haven't heard of it? Yeah, well, I said woodworking, and I just thought of Woody Woodpecker.
For our millennials out there, I mean, hopefully you guys are bringing back some of the old school cartoons. Classic. So
Woody Woodpecker.
We just aged ourselves by it.
We did. I know. Woody Woodpecker was the man, or the bird, whatever.
The bird.
He's the man. He's the man. So you've got to find that kind of figure out what you're also really good at, what you enjoy doing, because there's going to be, and it depends on the type of business you're creating. So if you're doing more of an information marketing product or business where you're selling information, whether it's books or ebooks or courses, or you're doing coaching, which is a lot of the stuff is really popular in the marketing space, then you have to say, okay, how am I going to get people to buy my products and services? Because it's going to end up, there's the product creation, and then there's the traffic/marketing.
Okay.
E-commerce, right? There's the products you're selling, and then you have to get people there. So do you like doing video, or do you enjoy writing more? Or are you more like this is a podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be the host? Are you going to be the expert? There's a lot of different things you have to figure out. Maybe your passion is being what I call the host model, where you love being a podcast host, or you do love doing online summits, and all you want to do is interview people. You're not necessarily the expert, but you're really, maybe instead of passionate, it's more curious. I think curiosity is a really powerful thing, because curiosity is going to let you dig deeper. If you're interviewing someone, you could ask those really good, juicy questions.
Well, you just hit on a very important subject to me. I've brought it up in this show many times. Sometimes I probably bring it up too much. Maybe I'm justifying it subconsciously, but people are like, oh, I've never been on a podcast like this before. Every time I finish a show, people are like, by the way, really love the open format.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I will right now. I'm like, because not everybody, but most shows have this Q&A structured format. I have co-hosts. They come on the show like you. They sign up, they register, they come on, and then they send me their pre-approved list of questions. Awful. And I look at it and I'm like, well, thank you. That goes in the shredder if I actually printed it. But this is my show. So to your point, I love hosting a show. Why else did I launch it? And why else do I have an open format? Because I enjoy these real human conversations. This is a great life tip for the listeners out there, right? Is that you can only do so much over instant messaging, Facebook messaging, text messaging, video messaging, FaceTime live. Actually, I'll pause on that. FaceTime actually is a good thing because you're having an electronic face-to-face. So that might help a little bit. But my point I'm going here, your feedback is be curious. Be intrigued. Want to dig deeper. Use your active listening skills to prove to the person you're talking to, like, oh, I hear what they said. Let me dig a little deeper into that.
Right. And well, it shows you're listening. And if you are doing any type of interviews, it's much more interesting. There's a quote from, if you ever saw the movie, I'm Going to Date Ourselves Again, Planes, Chains, and Automobiles.
Oh, man.
Where he says,
you are bringing back some stuff today, man.
He says, well, here's a point, if you're ever going to tell a story, have a point. It makes it a lot more interesting for the listener. And that's the thing too, when you're doing an interview, ask good questions. It's funny you brought up the whole asking questions. I was interviewed about a week and a half ago, and the guy ahead of time emailed me, said, here's what I'm going to ask you. And there's 30 questions. And right before we get on, we start chatting for a minute before. I said, I just want to tell you something. I didn't read any of your questions. I don't want to read them. I don't want to know. I just want to have a conversation because because then you'll cut me off because you want to get to these questions. And then he started asking me questions. He kept stopping me. I said, stop asking me questions. Let's talk. And I said, and I'm not going to answer the freaking question. What's your favorite book? What book do you recommend? If you had to start over and start at zero and you had no money or resources, you had one eye and you had a limp, what would you do to make money? Enough. Let's just talk. And thank you, Scott, for showing that you can actually have a podcast or interviews without this stupid list of questions.
Here's the problem. It becomes a crutch. I've spoken, actually, I'll be back I think it's about a month, almost a month out. Mid-Atlantic Podcast Conference goes on just outside of Philadelphia. And it's a smaller, venue. They're still building it up. It's only a few years old. But I spoke, actually, when I launched this show, it was the week that I went to my first podcast conference, which was that conference. And then last year they invited me back to speak, and now I'm going back and speak again this year. And that's kind of part of the stuff that I'm learning. Like I'm there, I'm immersing myself in the environment. I'm learning from these other professionals, like we'll call them professionals. People have had shows way longer than me. And from what I've observed is that, and I'm a voracious podcast consumer. I consume tons of audio content and audiobooks because I travel so much. Why listen to the radio when I could be, I call it the mobile university.
Right.
Never stop learning. And I find that the Q&A can become a crutch. Like you're almost, you think you're setting yourself up for success, but I think you've actually set yourself up for dependency. And you can speak to this because the only reason why you're passionate about this is I have a feeling somebody interviewed one time. I'm gonna guess. You can tell me I'm wrong, but somebody interviewed one time, and you probably like just trickled in some amazing nuggets of knowledge, and they just blew right over them like they didn't even exist. And they're like, you're probably like, dude, we could have dug so deep, and that would have blown this interview up, but you missed it.
So I mean, don't forget, I've been online now for about 20 years.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're going back to the 90s. I blast back to remember the BBS days?
Oh, BBS?
Yeah.
Like the
electronic bulletin boards before websites. I went there.
I wasn't like really, that was the thing. I was never like a techie. I just like business and marketing and stuff. So, I just, the amount of interviews I've done over the years, and so many are, especially with podcasting, the explosion of podcasting, it's just the same question, especially when I was more, people knew me more as an entrepreneur as opposed to like a health guy. And it was just the same 5 or 10 questions. And I would give such good stuff. And they'd be like, I'd say like, oh, and then you do this, and then here's how you make $1 million. Great. So tell me your 3 favorite books. Like, are you kidding me?
You could have asked me how to make $1 million right here, right now.
I get so frustrated with that. And because my whole methodology for teaching. So I used to work in a children's hospital, and then I was a gym teacher in the South Bronx. And I worked with all the kids from the inner city and youth at risk and kids with disabilities, all this stuff. And that's
commendable. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. But that's my background. That's what I love doing. And you can't come in there with like and here's, we're going to do this, this, and this, because they won't allow it.
They'll push back.
Yeah.
It's their natural psychology.
Right. So you've got to just come in and be like, let's go. And you have to be able to think fast on your feet.
I love the beauty of youth. Actually, before we started the show, interesting segue. This will connect up nicely because you have father of 4, right?
Yep.
And they're downstairs cooking you dinner right now, right?
They are. I have 3 daughters and a son. So my daughters, they're all like days away from turning. They're about to turn 15, 13, 11, 9. They're all 2 years apart.
Oh, pretty good ratio.
And my oldest daughter, my 15, and my 11-year-old love cooking, and we love watching cooking shows. So they texted me. I said, why don't you guys, because they baked a pie from scratch the other night. And I said, why don't you cook us dinner? So they're so excited. And they texted me the whole shopping list. So I went shopping. I left my office at 3:00, got a whole shopping list. And now downstairs they're making chicken, and they're making salad, and they're making homemade dessert. So I can even smell it right now.
I'm hearing it. And again, listening, like you just said, left my office around 3:30. So you're creating the life balance. You're controlling your schedule. You're putting family first. We're going to dig back into that in a bit. I know we will.
Yep.
But to finish this thought up is, I'm not a father. I've coached kids for years. I spent 11 years as a USSA ski race coach in the Pocono Mountains, and trying to wrangle 30 to 50 kids, like that old saying of, it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
I think it's worse. But the point is this. One thing I learned from coaching, at least in that specific sport, is youth. The beauty of the youth is they're just like we were kids once. You're still in that crushing knowledge, absorbing, sponging, and they're so alert and so aware, unless they're face deep in a video game, which we've already discussed. They're going to pick up if you're genuine or not.
Oh yeah.
Their blinders and their filters haven't engaged yet from maturing into adulthood. They haven't been swayed one way or the other, or they haven't learned how to tune everything out yet. So everything you're talking about right now is beautiful because it's like, guys, like that's the beauty of youth. I think if there was a way to create youth consultants to come into a company and teach them about being genuine and being active listeners and actually caring about the conversation. Like I think a kid could actually help teach that. I don't know. The right kid.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The right kid. And it's actually really sad. And we won't have to spend a lot of time on this, but it is kind of sad what you see now with technology. And technology is great. You know, look what we're doing right now with technology. We couldn't have done this even 5 years or 8 years ago. It's amazing. However, with every good, there's bad. And you go out, you go to a restaurant with my family, and I'll see 4 teenagers sitting at a table over from us. All of them are on the phone. I'm like, then why are you out? Like just and we're really strict with that with our family. My only one of my kids has a phone. She got it finally when she started high school.
Really?
Yeah. No one else.
You have a New Yorker. I'm trying. New Yorker family in Connecticut. I went a little Massachusetts on that, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell accents you're doing here.
Dude, I have no idea.
Well, you said you're trying to be international.
I'm having fun. I have no idea. It's whatever. The point is, like, you only have one of 4 kids in 2018.
Yep.
With it's got to be a smartphone.
Yeah, she has the iPhone.
There was kids I was coaching up at the ski resort, and I stepped down 2 seasons ago because I never did it for money. It was like people paid squat. I actually, the past 2 years, I had donated my time. I'm like, here,
that's great.
I'll write it off. Like it's a not-for-profit ski club anyway. I'm like, I'm not here for the money, guys.
Right.
But the all of a sudden in the past like 10 years, like younger and younger and younger, there's kids with phones. Like,
high school is when she got it.
They're younger than that.
Yeah, no, my kids won't. They will not. And also, we have in our bedroom here, we have a safe, a big safe. All of their electronics goes in the safe every day. So
wow,
they don't have their electronics. They have to ask us, and we could take it out, and we'll let them use it for a little bit. Sometimes, not always, but even my oldest daughter, a lot of times we just take the phone. Like when we go out for dinner, or we go out, we don't let her bring the phone with her. Like you're gonna go out, and we're gonna have conversations, and we're gonna talk to people, and we're gonna have family dinners, and we're not gonna be on the phone. No phones, no electronics at the dinner table. Walking around the house with that, none of that stuff.
I'm intrigued.
That's why my company's called Rewinds. Like Rewind, I play into the nostalgia, and it's about.
Which, by the way, we really haven't done a good job doing screen sharing today. Please keep going. I've got to share the site, ladies and gentlemen. It's very colorful and
thank you. It's fun.
Keep going.
Yeah,
but anyway, again, literally.
But I mean, so we really do try to kind of play into the kind of fun retro stuff. Even though, if you could see in the middle there, our box, you could see a little bit of picture there. I guess if you scroll down, maybe you can see. It looks like a boombox.
I didn't zoom in until right now. Yeah.
Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen listening, go to rewindtoday.com. If you listen to this, pause it. And if you're not driving a car, open up your smartphone browser and you can bring up. But if you zoom in, because iPhones, for example, have touch screen and everybody else. Yeah, in the background, it's a cool little packaging. And I love how you have a cassette tape in the middle of it.
Oh, and if you scroll down, I think you could see we have more pictures and stuff. But even and underneath that, it says this box was mixed for. Oh, look at that. You see the little Michael Jackson glove. I had one of my people do the Michael Jackson glove. Every person who orders, we write their name on the box. So every single person, we do all of our own fulfillment. So we fulfill every single order.
By hand?
By hand. Yeah, we do every single order. We don't use a warehouse or fulfillment. So everyone gets personal letters. We put little toys and presents, and we just have a lot of fun with this company.
It is very fun looking.
You know, you mentioned kids and working with youth, and that was my whole career, is working with kids. I was a recreational therapist and a gym teacher, and I have my 4 kids, and I just want to keep playing. I want to have this sense of fun and joy and youthfulness, and a lot of time we lose that. We tend to be so serious. Even those interviews just are annoying, with let's just play and have some fun. So we just launched this, as of this interview, about 7 weeks ago, and
wow.
And it's going well. We're rocking. We're selling lots of bars, and people loving it because it was all based on my own health. That was me. That was my before and after.
So if you scroll far enough down on the site, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get to an impressive transformation, sir. Well done.
Thank you.
And talk all about healthy lifestyle. And perfect segue, because this is why I don't edit. I don't edit the show. If people end up dropping profanity, I don't care. But stuff like this, like your brand, your site, like, dude, I'm going to share my before and after. Like a lifestyle shift is important. It's not just about weight loss, even though this is an impressive. I mean, look at that.
It was about a little over 35 pounds. Because the funny thing is, before on the left, that was, I used to be a trainer. So for a while, I was a pretty I created workout videos, and I was on the training team for Men's Fitness magazine. Yeah. And they even called it the world's fastest workout. So I was becoming a well-known fitness guy. And then I started gaining weight. I was captain of my college track team. I started gaining weight, and it slowly started to happen. And all this stuff kind of fell apart over the course of a few years. First, losing my mom to cancer at 63. And it was like just devastating to me and my family. Yeah, it was tough. It was right after I had my fourth child. Then we had a nutrition company, and we had gone from it was generating 7 figures a month to within a couple of weeks, we had our number one promoter left, everyone left. We just did a multi-million-dollar blanket order, and we all of a sudden went from millions of dollars of revenue to millions of dollars in debt, almost like within a couple of weeks. So that happened. And then my health, you have 4 kids. I started eating chicken fingers. I was getting depressed. I started gaining weight. And then it was getting to the point where my joints started to hurt. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I went to doctors, physical therapists.
I could tell you what's going on.
Chiropractors. Yeah, you could probably so all this stuff, all the stress, all the pressure, everything happening. And finally, it took, 4 or 5 months for one doctor I went to. Finally went to a rheumatologist, and immediately he looked at me, looked at my fingers, looked at my hand, my toes, all the symptoms. He said, you have autoimmune disorder. You have psoriatic arthritis. And I said, all right, doc, well, what does that mean?
Here's the other question though. What's the root cause? What was adding to that?
It was the stress. It was the bad nutrition. It was all this stuff, adrenal fatigue, all this kind of stuff setting in, just being overwhelmed, having the 4 kids, losing all this stuff was just, it was really, really rough. So I said, okay, so what are we going to do? And I have a master's in exercise physiology. I knew it was autoimmune, and I knew there was inflammation. And he said, well, first thing we're going to do is put you on methotrexate. I'm like, well, wait, that sounds serious. I said, that's like, he said, yeah, this is chemo.
Jesus.
I said, you got to put me on chemo? He's like, yeah. He's like, just make sure. I said, isn't that bad? He said, well,
it's a medical Band-Aid.
Yeah. He's like, just make sure that you're not around people, who get sick, because then it can be really serious. I said, doc, I got 4 kids. Like, someone's going to have sniffles. He's like, well, we're going to have to get you in every week. We're going to have to take blood tests. I said, well, isn't this just, like you said, isn't this a symptom? Isn't the autoimmune
treating a symptom?
Isn't something causing it? And he said, what? Yeah. He's like, yes, but we don't know. So we basically got to kill everything. And look, I'm not blaming the medical profession and saying every doctor's bad. Look, they're trying to do the right thing, because he just doesn't know. Like, no. He's been taught to, here's what happens. Here's the autoimmune. And you just kill it with these drugs. That's what he's taught. He's not doing it to try to hurt me. So I said, well, I'm going to go out and try to figure this out on my own. He said, look, and then come back and we'll get you on the drugs. And that was 5 years ago. Never been back. Kind of healed myself, changed my nutrition, reduced my stress, lost the weight. I could actually, it hurt so much. I couldn't even snap my fingers. It hurt that much. I could barely walk. And now, like, I'm back to the same weight and pant size I was in high school.
So whether it's your condition, celiac disease, arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, I've had some powerful experts on this show, legitimate doctors, legitimate scientists, because the health demographic, if I had to pick one of my top 3 domains, it's health. Even though it comes back to health, business, lifestyle, it's all intertwined. Right. And
it is all
everything you're talking about. It is frustrating. You could tell I was holding myself back. I had to let you keep going. I'm really.
You wanted to ask a question. What are my favorite calls?
Nope. But the frustration is that I know more, and this is a risky statement. I've said it once before. I know more than the average MD when it comes to healthy nutrition and ways to clean up your lifestyle. I know about the balance of the hormonal impacts to leptin and ghrelin. Those are nicknamed the weight loss and weight gain hormones, what triggers them. I live a very aggressive, my client is a very successful podcaster. He trademarked the branding of NSNG, no sugars, no grains, because he's literally creating a fat documentary movie right now about the truth behind healthy fats like olive oil and avocado. And we can go deep down the well.
Yeah.
And the whole point here is that, yes, a drug, a pharmaceutical might be necessary depending on the situation initially. But again, I call it the medical Band-Aid because you're just treating a symptom. And I know this is more Western versus Eastern medicine, but what's the actual root cause? Because that is the sustainable long-term benefit and impact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what you had to go figure out on your own. So I'm going to stop on my soapbox and help you continue, because you're about to dive into the importance of becoming your own inner physician and doing some of the self-taught education, unfortunately, that you had to figure out. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I had to figure out what the heck is going on, what's causing this inflammation. And here's the truth. It was pretty obvious, right? Like, I figured it was going to be
breaded chicken fingers. Really? Come on.
Right. You know, it was pretty friggin' obvious between the nutrition. I think to me, the two big ones are nutrition and the stress. So I had to go on and I'm not saying detox like a nutrition, like I call it like a simplicity. Like simplicity to me was the key. It was trying to make everything as simple and non-stressful and as easy to follow as possible. And that was the path I went on, simplifying my business, simplifying the systems I do with my business, simplifying my family relationships. Like I used to travel a lot, not all the time, a lot. Because the way the internet marketing world works is I would go to these events, or I had my own events. People, you know, you fly yourself in, you go, you do your 1 hour talk, you sell some product, and then you split it 50-50 with the revenue, with the event producer.
Yeah, rock like a little back of the room sale or something like that.
Yeah, you know, and I did that for years and I did well, but I always felt kind of weird. And I'll tell you this one really quick story, which this was like a turning point with the business stuff, where I'm about to go on stage, or I don't know, about 2,000 people, very, very well-known marketer. And his event producer, right before I go on stage, says to me, Ryan, you got one job and one job only. And I'm excited. I thought he was going to say, rock the stage, kick ass, you know, change lives.
Yeah, let's do this.
And he goes, here's your job. Your job is to extract as much money from every person in that room. And that, it just...
Holy soulless Batman.
I thought I misheard him. And then I realized what he said. It felt like, I remember physically like breathing, like and my life was like, what? My life was kind of flashing before my eyes. Like, what? How far have I come from years? Not that many years before, I was working in a children's rehab hospital with kids with spina bifida and cerebral palsy and spinal cord injuries in wheelchairs, and working with doing adapted aquatics. From that to now, my job is to extract money from people. Like, I couldn't be further from my mission in life.
Well, let's pause on that.
Yeah.
It's okay to, I mean, it's the worst phrasing ever. The guy needs to be coached on his coachability or his coaching techniques. But it's okay to say extract money from people in an audience if it's going to benefit them, because you need to have skin in the game in life, right? You give something away for free, what do you get out of it? So I believe, like, as I increase my events, my trainings, my coachings that I go and attend, I start spending more. Only because I've learned. It's like, okay, well,
his was not coming from the right place. His was
that's cold as ice.
Just take money from them. And I'm a capitalist, and I'm okay with people selling.
Yeah.
If you have a good product or service and it delivers not only what you say it's going to do, you over deliver. I don't care if someone invests $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. If they get more value back, great. It's great for you. It's great for them.
Yeah.
But if you're selling something even for $5 and it's crap, then you should be selling it, and you're wrong. But it just felt, because I knew him, I knew what he was talking about, and it just felt wrong on so many levels. So I wanted to get back to, how do I simplify my business? So I stopped traveling and speaking. So it was about 6 years, I said no to every single speaking event. I mean,
wow,
big events, 6 years, no to every single one, because I was going to refocus on my family, the relationships. I've always coached my kids' sports, but I coached even more. I was coaching like 2-3 sports a season. And that helped. And then, simplifying my nutrition. The big change for me is why I started this Rewind company is I knew for me, I had to win the morning. I had to start my day off right. I couldn't find anything good to eat in the morning. And then all of a sudden I'd grab like a donut and I would just, or I would try.
And that's just a fast burning processed sugar bomb.
Right.
And again, going back to my points on leptin and ghrelin, you just threw off your body system. It's crazy.
Yeah. And look, for some people, intermittent fasting works, and they don't eat.
I didn't eat until 2:00 today.
Yeah. And I get it.
I did a shot of olive oil this morning, and then I made my fatty coffee. But I didn't always do that. I'm at a different place in the timeline.
And if it works for you, that's great.
Yeah.
Didn't work for me because all I did was freaking think about food all day. So I knew for me, I wanted to have something in the morning that was kind of lightish, that had some fiber, that tasted good, that was quick and easy, because with 4 kids, I don't have time for crap. So it was a bar. And I tried it. I bought like 50 different bars. I tried different bars. Most of them tasted like crap. Although I started to lose weight and started to feel better because at least I had something in the morning. I said, why can't there be a bar that has greens and fruit and fiber, and it's vegan and it's gluten-free and doesn't have any anti-inflammatory properties? There wasn't, so I created it. And that's why I created this company. It was purely the whole idea was, let me create something that's really, really good that I could have in the morning. And but we talk about passion. I was really passionate about that. And that's why this business is working, because I am excited about it. It's something I was really curious about. And it was, then you got to find the right idea in the hook. So now I know I'm going off on little tangents, but
No. It's interesting because I'm a marketing guy and I'm a branding guy. So I geek out on this stuff. So I wanted to kind of segue into a little bit just for my own benefit, and yes, the listening audience too, but
screw the audience.
Yeah, right? I mean, really, it's not about you guys. Yes, no, it's all about you guys, or else why am I wasting my time on a microphone? So, I mean, there is a little I enjoy these. So, yeah. But here's the deal. It's Rewind Today, the branding. I mean, clearly, you needed a life change. Mm-hmm. Your lifestyle wasn't working. The life balance wasn't working. Your cortisol levels were through the roof from adrenal fatigue. I can speak to that. I learned that the hard way serving as one of the elite hotshot wildland firefighters out west. That's where fire and the logo came from. I left the corporate world and did that for 2 years thinking that was going to help me figure out what I was supposed to do. Great adventure, by the way.
That's cool.
And then
that's what life is. It's a journey, right?
It was a journey. But there's so many, especially now that I've had the podcast for 2 years, it's like, I never know what I'm going to bring out of my memory next. And it's like, oh, I didn't know what adrenal fatigue was until I did that job. I didn't know about, for 6 months straight, 2,000 hours in 6 months, and I'm eating what the fire camps feed you. I was never in a position of putting my body through that level of stress. Right. 16-hour shifts on the fire line.
I can imagine.
Food is everything. Yeah. Like, we had cargo pockets in our fire pants, and we hiked in with 7 quarts of water, electrolytes. You had MREs in there, so if we didn't have food, we had to eat freaking MREs with the preservatives. So at the end of the 6 months, your summer fire season, you got accumulated exhaustion. You have apparently adrenal fatigue. If I wasn't taking advantage of my few days off that we got for proper rest and recovery, which I did a good job. I was doing chiro, massage. I would go to movie theaters and sit there by myself and watch a movie.
Best thing in the world, by the way. I love that.
Still do it to this day.
I do it all the time.
My fiance, she's like, you're a weirdo.
I do it all the time.
You got 4 kids. You got to do that.
Oh.
Anyway, that was a segue. The point is that you reached a point in your life. Luckily, you woke up. I reached a point in my life then, and then still over the years as I continue to find my path, is that my health and my fitness has always kept me going. I've always been the high energy guy. When I become I'm going to go ahead and say it. When I become a dick or a jerk, what did I do wrong that day? I knew it. It's like, was there something off on my nutrition, or, what's happening in my lifestyle? Am I not, it's not just food. It's the rest, the recovery, the sleep. Everything is tied together. Now amplify that with a stressful job or a stressful relationship. All these things are tied together, and you've spoken to all of that. Oh, by the way, you're trying to raise 4 kids.
Yeah.
And your rewind was, well, I'm just guessing. Like me, outside guy looking in, I'm like, I purposely, when I look at rewind, I'm like, well, I could start a whole new chapter, which she technically did. Mm-hmm. But maybe I should be hitting the rewind a little bit and reminding myself where I came from and where I was before. And it's like, it wasn't rocket science back then. Yes, it gets a little harder as you get older. Hormones are important to keep in balance, blah, 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 which is why fueling your body to fuel your lifestyle is more important. So I'm just intrigued, like, I guess dig deeper into that rewind today. Because me outside looking at it, I'm like, I like it. Because I'm like, dude, let's hit that rewind switch. Let's go back to what was I doing then? Now let's rebuild that cycle and figure out the hacks to get me back on path.
Right. Rewind it really does have, it's kind of cool. As I keep doing this, it kind of has many layers. There's obviously the rewinding, like the years, right? It's getting back to when you felt really good, because there was always a point for most of us that we felt better, right? Before, whether you're 25 and you felt better when you were 17, or you're like me, almost 46, and you felt better when you were 22, like rewinding the years, like physically, right? Feeling better, feeling like you used to feel, like remember when you felt great, like that feeling. So there's that part. Then there's the fun kind of nostalgic part of it. Because everyone thinks their generation, we're Gen X, you and I.
Yep.
So of course we think music from, the 80s is better than the new stuff. Most of it.
I am a bit of a 90s guy. I'll give.
Oh, okay, so maybe 90s. Okay, you could even go to, and for Gen X it is 80s and 90s, right?
I did start listening to a lot of Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden.
Okay. Oh, so you were the harder stuff. Okay.
Well, again, my buddy who taught me about BBS boards was a guitar player, and he used to play a lot of that. So
yeah, and I loved all. By the way, I loved all music. When I was college in 90, and I loved the early R&B, hip hop, and Belle Biv DeVoe and some of the Run DMC stuff. And I loved, even my mom used to listen to Frankie Valli and Neil Diamond and Motown. And
you are diversified.
Everything. I listen to everything. Except honky tonk. Not in a honky tonk. That's the only thing I won't listen to. But anyway, so
that was bad.
But I like to kind of tap into that fun nostalgia of, remember when it was kind of fun. And we don't want to live in the past. Like, it's good to remember the past and think of some of the good times that you had and to smile. Like when I first came up with this, I'm like, okay, we're a health company. And I'm like, well, we're an anti-aging company. And then I started writing emails to my list. I said, you know what? We're a happiness company. Because when you're feeling better physically, you're happier. If you wake up in the morning and you see one of our posts and we do a comment, if you're our age and I talk about the Breakfast Club, maybe you think of it, you smile. Or if you're older,
I just did.
Yeah. Or I mentioned like 8-track tapes. So someone who's a little bit older remembers that and they smile. Or if you're a little bit younger, maybe I'll say Backstreet Boys. Like, oh my God, I remember the Backstreet Boys song. So whatever it is.
They're touring again, right?
By the way, they have a hit now. They have a hit song that's back out now because my daughter knows it, which more power to them because they're getting up there too. And I think that's awesome. So if I could make you smile and feel good. So there's that kind of rewinding that, and rewind obviously has a lot of plays on the physicality, the analog of rewinding a cassette tape, rewinding a VHS tape, that physical and digital and online, all that stuff's cool. But I still think you see a big uptick in vinyl records. I started collecting vinyl records again a couple of years ago. People are buying, young people are buying records and books. Ebook sales are going down. Regular physical book sales are going back up. There are more magazines being published. Like, people are saying, okay, we kind of reached the pinnacle with the digital stuff. Like, we get it. Everything could fit in here, in this, all the music. But there's something about like a record and putting it on and talking about it and holding it.
Well, it's what you're referring to. I tie it to this because I've done a lot of training over the years and coaching is there's the VAC method, which is it's either you're a visual learner, an auditory learner, or a kinesthetic learner. So there's something to the physical touch, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, there's great memorization studies that I've read and studied, which is you can try and type something, but when you physically hand write something, it's like, boom, it's like an instantaneous upload to the brain into the long-term memory.
Oh yeah.
That's how I used to study when I was in college in the university. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm just going to go back and rewrite my notes.
I'm going to show you something. everyone asks me, you know, how am I so productive? How can I have 4 kids and run these businesses and do all this stuff? I'm going to show you the world's best productivity tool. You ready for this one, Scott?
Is this the hack for making $1 million? Oh, look at that.
They
still sell them?
Like $2.
The black and white, I forget what they called them. There's a name for those.
Composition notebooks.
Yeah.
This is my to-do list, my notes. You know, I did a coaching thing today, and I still use this, and it feels so good. So I'm a little old school with that kind of stuff. So that's, you know, in terms of Rewind.
I mean, I have a different style, but I mean,
yeah,
I have a whole stack of books in there. So
whatever works. Like I always tell people, if it works for you, that's great. But that, you know, in terms of Rewind, there's rewinding the physical years and feeling better, and then smiling and remembering some of the good memories. Nostalgia is good, mm-hmm. But you know, so you learn from the past, and then what we're going to start doing with the site is we're going to do some new writings and videos, and we're going to call that a new section called Fast Forward, because we also want to look ahead, right?
Okay.
Like, how are we going to take some of the stuff we learned in the past and get better? And then how do we take those skills and now get it moving forward so we continue to feel better and move better and be happier and all that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, entrepreneurship, we talked before about getting back up. It's also agility. Like you have to be agile and you have to move because it's very fluid, and what you think might work doesn't necessarily work. And that's what I was saying. You can't out hustle a bad idea. You can't out hustle bad math. If it's not working, you have to move. And some entrepreneurs get so emotionally attached to their idea, and they're not willing to budget. This is it. This is going to work, and this is what I want to do. But if the market's not responding, you either have to change it, adapt it, change things around, or you got to let it go.
Popular, speaking events I've gone to or conferences is the past couple of years, I hear more of the power of shift or the power of pivot.
Yeah.
You don't always need to kill the idea,
right?
But you gotta be ready at all times to go back, take it to the drawing board, man. Like, okay, can we tweak one more thing? Can we shift one more thing? To your point, though, eventually you may burn all of those bridges. And it's like, dude, we just need to stop because all the energy that you're dumping here cannot be reallocated here. And
right.
a classic quote is, everything you say yes to today is something you can't say yes to tomorrow. Because if you start down a path today and you're going to put 80% of your energy into that new company, well, what if a greater idea comes up tomorrow? Are you ready to shift? Are you ready to pivot and go with that better path? Or are you already so emotionally tied where it's like, I can't. There's only so much bandwidth you have.
Right. And you have to be okay to move fast, and make decisions and try new things. Being an entrepreneur there's some risk involved. You obviously want to be conservative. You don't want to risk your house. I'm not a fan of, burning the boats and quitting your job. There's people say, "Oh, quit your job," and
then you have all the time in the world.
yeah, right. Or quit your job, and it puts the pressure on, so you're going to make money. That's the worst advice in the world. All it does is add even more stress, and now you're freaking out. No, So what I did when I left the hospital job and then I was working as a gym teacher, I part-time built my business until I didn't leave that job as a gym teacher until I had 6 consecutive months of more income than I was making as my full-time job. 6 months consecutive, not 1 month, not 2 months, not a month good, down, and then up.
I've had to learn that the hard way. I've had to learn.
A lot of people have, Scott. A lot of people have.
I'll be perfectly transparent. My largest client, most of my income, I used to work for her and then left and then tried a couple of different, entrepreneurial endeavors. Did not have the biggest stress to me was the financials. So, hey, there's bills to be paid. You need to survive. Yes, I could put all my time into this, but it's like, dude, did you set yourself up for success though? Was there a little bit of planning? Was there financial gain involved? And I didn't do that the first time around. It was a giant crapshoot.
A lot of people haven't, and it's really risky, and it's not good to do that.
Cortisol levels, stress.
Right. I mean, look, if you need that kind of pressure to be successful, then something's broken. Like you have to be able to say, this is what I want. This is my goal. This is my vision. This is where I see my life. I'm going to get there. Let me be patient and do the right things, the small steps, because if you want to build, I'm talking business-wise, it's a long-term game, and everyone's in for the short money. And when you do that, you make some really bad decisions.
That's one thing I do appreciate. Even though Gary's like going back to Gary Vaynerchuk, he's all hustle, 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 and
He talks
go. But he does every once in a while finally bring some of the wisdom back into it and remind the guys, like, guys, it is a long game.
Yeah, no, he does. I said, I agree with a lot of stuff he says, just not all of it.
I guarantee you, though, he doesn't do this on his Instagram. That's right.
What's that?
Right
oh,
there.
Sure. Oh, look at that. That's where I usually film my podcast interviews.
I was waiting to share this.
I have all the records, the vinyl records and the posters. And
so ladies and gentlemen, you can follow him on Instagram at Rewind Today, just like rewindtoday.com. It's also linked on his website. All this stuff will be in the show notes too. I'm just reminding people of this stuff because we are coming to the end of the show.
Yes.
But I love this share on Instagram because you could see there's your vinyl. It's so old school, but new school. That's what I love about it. There's Ferris Bueller, man.
Oh, yeah. Breakfast Club.
And then the other thing I enjoyed in here, what was the other one I had found earlier? This was, you're showing some of the transparency, the behind the scenes of the business here.
Yep.
So he said this earlier in the show, ladies and gentlemen, they hand pack every single order. He's showing you.
I'm there at my
literally a little mini assembly line.
That's it. That's the orders going out every day. I'm there every single day overseeing. I write most of the notes myself.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. Like we were saying, the physical world. I like being there and doing that stuff. So,
are you still doing this free ebook thing?
No, that's someone else did a promotion.
That's somebody else's site. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm looking at a photograph on
Instagram. He put his little screenshot in the background there.
Yeah. But again, back to the cool packaging. Again, literally, hold on. Yeah, because we do have to come to that. But idea just popped in my head. Do you remember with your boombox? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We said boombox. FYI, I gotta track down an old school boombox because I'm doing a heli skiing wedding in Banff in Alberta, Canada. It's famous for ski movies and everything. Gorgeous mountains of Canada, and so heli skiing, helicopters, we're going into the backcountry.
You're out of your mind. Okay.
It's awesome. Anyway, but we are going to have a couple of resort days in Banff. Well, hardcore skiers that we are, we got to have a retro 80s day. So everybody's breaking out their old retro ski gear. I need to track down a badass old boombox because I'm going to go skiing down the mountain, rocking the boombox. I got to make sure it's a double decker so I can play to set up the secondary cassette. Remember that?
Well, yeah, of course. Well, there's nothing wrong with the double cassette. And then you could also record off of one. Well, then you got to do your own sweet mix.
Well, hold on. Here's my point.
Yeah.
There could be a future rendition in your product launch, or maybe branding, not the packaging, but like maybe there's a new theme you come out with where it's like, oh, hey guys, when you're ready don't forget, like life gets busy. You're hustling, you got to fuel, right? So it's like, hey, I'm playing right now, but I got to pause and fuel up. And then play again. I don't know. Take that. Use that.
I'm taking it and running with it. I like when you guys. Well, let's send me an email offline, and then I'll make sure you guys for your 80s night, you guys have some rewind bars to keep you guys fueled.
Yeah, it's gonna be an adventure. She already has her wedding day ski jacket bought. She already found this cool, like her retro ski outfit. I don't know who wore this. It's like women had the big wide shoulders.
Oh yeah.
The waist is so tight and it flares out. There's a matching headband hat and gloves, and it's like a shimmery bluish green. I was like, oh my God, baby, that's prime retro.
That's the way you do it.
And you have to wear it with tights.
Well, what other way is there?
I figured you would appreciate that. So
I love that. That's awesome, Scott.
Well, listen, rewindtoday.com. I love it. You had so much fun with this branding. You could tell you have passion behind this.
Yeah.
But listen, I close out all of my shows with our fans, listeners, and everybody getting to hear some final comments from you, the guest co-host. And I love your messaging. I love your family. I love the lifestyle. I love the fact you're doing this for a bigger picture, the things you've done for children in the past. So this is going to be easy for you. What's an all-encompassing message you want to kind of leave behind for our audience? If they forget everything else they learned about you today and what you're trying to do and trying to help people get healthy with this company, using yourself as an example, but like, is there something that you'd like to help pass along to our listeners?
I think in life, you just, as best you can, just do the right thing. It's not always the easy thing. Sometimes it's a harder thing, but just do the right thing. But in terms of the right thing, treat the way you treat other people, serving others, doing the right thing for your family, doing the right thing for your clients and your people who are buying from you, doing the right thing with your own nutrition and your health and exercise. Just do the right thing. There you go.
I love that.
And it's the old Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing. But,
and it's short enough that we could hashtag it. Do the right thing.
There you go.
Right?
You're a hashtag machine.
Apparently, sometimes to a fault. But listen, hang tight. I want to give you
Hashtag
proper goodbye
to
off
a
the
fault.
air. I want to give you proper goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, I had fun with the show today. I hope you guys gained, as usual, a ton of healthy tips because they were very subtle. But again, go to rewindtoday.com, learn more about his journey, learn more about his product line, what he's trying to do. Some people are into bars, some people are not. But at least you learn about these companies who are trying to make a difference, and it's not going to become a giant manufactured, preservative-filled hunk of
no. Wait,
you know what.
And we're starting with the bars. Wait till you see some of the other stuff we have coming. Everything it's vegan, it's organic. We have some really cool stuff coming.
There you go. There's a lot more to come, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're rewinding the shit out of you.
All right. Well, listen. Hang tight. Probably goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, again, make sure you check out rewindtoday.com. Make sure you follow him at Rewind Today, Instagram, Facebook. Again, all this stuff will be listed in the podcast show notes for the blog article. And obviously, we'll be sharing this all over social media for you guys to follow. But again, thanks for tuning into another powerful Live the Fuel show. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you too can live the fuel. We'll talk to you guys again soon. You're free of the pod. I just leave the video go for extra fun for the YouTube when it goes up. So
awesome.
Hope you had some fun.
That was great. I love your interview style, and you're right. Just that's when I had a podcast. That's the way I do it. Just free flowing, and it was great. I love your energy, man. It's awesome. What can I do for
back
you?
To your brand? Yeah. When you fuel the body right and you take care of your lifestyle, there's no shortage of energy. I mean,
I'm with you. No, I'm with you 100%. Your fire. Your energy is awesome. What can I do?
Fire in the logo.
Yeah,
Live the Fuel stands for Live the Fired Up Epic Life.
Did you ever study one of my clients from a long time ago, John Lee Dumas?
Oh yeah, no, JLD and I have done photos together because every year I go out to a big conference also called Thrive, Make Money Matter, which is coming up in a few weeks in Las Vegas again. This will be its fourth year. I've gone for 3. He was there last year. Yeah, I had my stickers with me. He put a sticker on his shirt. We're doing photos. Yeah, I know JLD. Actually, we were just at an event a few weeks ago, and he was there.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I have his journals. I supported his Kickstarters. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a good person.
Yeah, no, I like John. I'm just thinking, anything I can help you with? Well, obviously I'll share this. Just let me know when it's live.
Yeah,
are you looking for more guests? Or what are you looking for?
Now that you know the theme of the show, there's 2 things I ask everybody. Like, guys, share what you learned today, but also just share for somebody else to learn tomorrow, right? It's like, guys, like we have to keep passing on the good information. That's why I don't watch the news anymore. That's why I keep unsubscribing. Anybody who starts posting negative content, I don't unfriend them. I just unfollow them. I don't want that content in my newsfeed. Life is too short. I have like over 4,500 friends on Facebook. Trust me, I'm not following all of them anymore. Yeah. We need to use technology and control what's influencing us. But no, I mean yes, obviously I'm always looking for great, new, excellent co-hosts who, again, if they can figure out how to fuel the health, business, and lifestyle, we can talk. And as long as they're going to give back powerfully, like you did to our audience, like today, we got to promote your company and your new product and everything you guys are doing. It
wasn't even about that. Yeah,
but it wasn't about that. Exactly. That's what I like to do. Yeah. The brand will sell itself. People want to know who's behind the brand.
Yeah, you don't even have to, like, when I do podcasts, I don't even talk about sometimes they'll just say, to find out more, go to Rewind Today. But it's not about that. It's because they have to get to know you and like you and trust you. And then they'll be like, okay, let me check it out, as opposed to making it a fucking
sales and marketing 101 is all about relationships. Like, that's what it is. It's like, and that comes through trust, and it takes time. That's why I'll have a longer format show too. I'm like, guys,
you're doing it the right way.
Yeah. So I'm playing the long game. I'm not JLD with millions of downloads yet. So
I was let me see, when he first reached out to me, I was his number 43 interview.
Oh my God. That's a long time.
Oh, I coached him for years.
Wow.
So and then he just interviewed me last week again for the second time. And it's been, a couple of years since I've been on a show.
I still haven't gotten around to even doing his form to go on his show. He and I'm in his private Facebook group. I mean, we just had photos of the last podcast conference a couple of weeks ago. Him and his girl were there. Dude, I've been so busy. I'm like, dude, I'll get on when I get on. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But your feedback is appreciative. I mean, the fact that you helped coach JLD and you think I'm doing a good job with the show, that means a lot. Thank you.
No, you are. You're doing a good job. I'm not doing this to brag, but I coached a lot of these Lewis Howes and Marie Forleo. Yeah. So I've been behind the scenes I've been behind the scenes for a very long time. But I'm done kind of with teaching the entrepreneurship because I've been doing that. I never started it. I started health and fitness. So I'm back to the health world.
It's you could tell it's where your passion is. I mean, especially you're rewinding back to your roots, bro. You're like, wait a minute.
I'm back, baby.
That's where I was happy.
I know. And I'm so happy again. So keep kicking ass. I'll see if I know of a good, I think of someone who could really bring some good stuff for you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't ask, but I'm like, hey, if you think past clients of yours make sense, and I don't, even though I've met these guys, like JLD hasn't been on the show yet. Lewis hasn't been on the show yet. I don't care. It's like when it happens, it happens.
Okay.
But yeah, trust me, when this show is scheduled to be released, you'll get a full email update. I even send the actual the actual graphics that we use for Instagram and Facebook in case my guest co-host beats me on their social media posts. If you beat me and I'm tagged, then I don't have to post it now. I'll just repost or reshare your post.
Got it.
I teach that people all the time. Like, guys, like, have other people create content for you, and vice versa. If somebody beats me to the punch, great. I'll share you. That way people know where it came from.
That's smart. When do you think this might go live?
I'm usually about 2 weeks out. I try not to. I don't want to go longer than that. I want to keep content fresh.
Yeah, keep it fresh. No, that's cool. Yeah. Just keep me in the loop, and let's keep in touch, Scott.
All right, sir.
All right, man. Thanks, buddy.
Go enjoy that great dinner.
I will do. Thanks.
Take care.
See ya.